What's up, New Phoenixes? Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we're back and we're on air and we're ready to answer some questions about new student orientation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We might go a little bit over because we're starting a little behind today, but we just want to get all this information to you because it's really, really pertinent. So for those of you that were here with us on Tuesday, thank you guys for coming back. And for those of you that weren't here, you can go to our schedule page, which has the link to our recorded session on the Elon core curriculum, as well as the answers to all the questions that we didn't get to. A little bit about these Are You Ready on-air live sessions. Basically, we've created this program to answer questions and have an intellectual discussion between current Elon students, Elon staff, as well as you guys, the incoming students. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sam Jones. I'm a rising senior here at Elon. I'm also going to be one of your hosts here this summer. And I have the privilege now of introducing our producer. You recognize her from your emails, Miss Lori Shackle.
Yes, on that note, look out for a newsletter from us tomorrow about all the exciting things we have next week. But as Sam said, I'm the producer for the show, and I'll be here during all the live sessions taking your questions that you ask online. So while you're watching the video, on the right side of the screen, there should be a Q&A panel. And if you type your questions there, we'll try to answer them live with the experts on the topic.
Definitely. And speaking of topics, everything that we're covering during these sessions are things that the new students are going to be, you guys are going to experience during your first year. So the topic for today is new student orientation. And we're lucky enough to have the overseer of new student orientation, Ms. Katie Height.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie Height. I'm the Director of New Student and Transition Programs. So that means I have the privilege of working with these students here to plan orientation and also to meet all of you when you arrive on campus on Friday, August 22nd for Move-In Day, and we're really excited about it.
And we also have several Elon students here that are on the orientation head staff. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Sarah Vaughn. I will be a junior this year at Elon, and I am the coordinator in training for Elon's head staff for orientation.
Hi all, my name is Brogan Bowles. I'm a senior here at Elon, and my position is the head team captain on our head staff team.
Hi all, my name is Mackenzie Daniel, and I'll be a senior here at Elon, and I am the coordinator for new student orientation and its head staff.
Hi everyone, I'm Evan Skloot. I'm a junior at Elon, and I'm a head staff team member for new student orientation.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about exactly what is new student orientation. Like, what does that whole process encompass?
Mm-hmm. Well, to be honest, new student orientation is a lot of things. You can't really sum it up in one word or a sentence even, but more so than anything, it is kind of a structured transition for you all, and new student orientation kind of provides a framework for getting you acclimated to the Elon community and Elon life in general, and it also provides a lot of necessary resources and just kind of opens doors for you guys and helps you kind of feel comfortable and aware of what's going on here at Elon.
Thanks. And so when students are part of this orientation process, they're going to be with their peers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And a big part of the orientation process, I think, is actually moving in to Elon. So what do you guys have to say about the move-in process?
Yeah, so move-in day arguably is one of the most exciting days in your whole career at Elon, because not only is everyone who's a part of orientation so excited because we've spent a whole year planning, coming to fruition in this day. Also, it's the new students' first experience at Elon, and for us, we get to finally see the faces that we've been preparing for. And for you guys, it's your first taste. It's your family, your friends, whoever you're bringing to move-in day. Everyone gets to see Elon as a student for the first time. So when you get there, it starts in the morning. Different buildings move in at different times. And orientation leaders and people who are involved in orientation are all there ready to give you the information that you need to get settled that day. People are stationed around the buildings to help you move in, and we are ready. We've been training for this. I carried a refrigerator up a flight of stairs when I was an orientation leader. We are ready to help you guys. Full refrigerator, the whole thing. So we're ready to help you, and we are very, very excited. And so as the new students move in, as you guys move in, it happens throughout the day, and then there's also multicultural reception and other receptions going on that you can come to before the first orientation session, which is at 4 o'clock, and that is for both students and parents. And as orientation is helping out, there's also residence life, physical plant, and other components of the Elon community that are helping out with Move-In Day.
Whatever you need is pretty much covered on Move-In Day.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So when you're placed, I guess, into these orientation groups, what are you, is it organized by like last name, or is it a random selection? What other students are you going to be put in with?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So orientation groups, for the most part, are put together by Elon 101 roster. So most of you will be enrolled in an Elon 101 course in the fall. And we use those groups to form our orientation groups for the most part. Transfer students are also grouped together groups with in cohorts with, if you're in a fellows program with other fellows or with other themed sort of Elon 101 cohorts, but that's the structure that we use for the orientation groups, which is great because you get to meet your peers in that group and then continue to meet with them throughout the fall semester.
And it's the orientation leader is it a student for each group?
Yes.
And what do you think are the goals throughout what's the entirety of the orientation process? Like, what is it? Is it a transitioning process?
So new student orientation as a whole is an opportunity for new students, as Brogan was saying, to really acclimate you to Elon and Elon life. And our new student orientation sessions are all driven by our orientation leaders that have been properly trained throughout the spring semester as well as intensively in August, so that when you come to campus, you are put in your orientation group, which then becomes your Elon 101 group for the most part, and your orientation leader is there to provide you information about what Elon is like, what campus is like, campus culture, as well as they provide you information about important departments on campus, important resources, and main events such as the student organization fair, the first football game, fun things to really make you feel comfortable and at home. And they also help you foster and facilitate new relationships with your fellow OL groups as well as other new students around you.
I definitely think a lot of students make some of their best friends, at least their first initial friends, within their orientation group, because it's such a community that you grow with during your entire first semester.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of time during orientation with those orientation groups. There's also time spent in the residence halls, so you'll get to know the folks that you're living with and the RA, who is the peer leader on the hall. So it's structured to really help with the transition socially and kind of make those first friend groups, but like Mackenzie mentioned, also give a lot of resources and talk about the academic experience and some of the things you have to look forward to for the next 4 years or more that you're here.
I have a question, kind of related to what Mackenzie just said, but a student asked, how and when do you get information about organizations and how do you get involved? So,
I can talk about that. Well, on September 5th, that will be a Friday, the organization fair will happen on Elon's campus. It's a huge organization where all the clubs and different things on campus have tables outside on the lawn, and you can get information about different clubs and organizations if you like service and all different kinds of things that you could be interested in. You can get information there. You can sign up to get more information, to get on an email list, and that way you can kind of get a taste of what Elon has to offer. We have over 200 clubs and organizations on campus, and if you don't see something that you like, you can even start your own organization. So Elon has a lot of opportunities for students to get involved on campus.
And the organization fair is heavily publicized on campus, so whether you're a new student or you're a rising senior, everyone seems to know when this happens, and
you can't really miss it.
You can't really miss it, yeah. And this is really geared towards new students as yourselves to get to see what Elon really has to offer, but you'll also get a chance to meet current sophomores, juniors, seniors, faculty, supervisors. As Sarah said, organizations ranging from Greek life to service to club sports, they're all available, so you get a chance to really see what Elon has to offer, which is a lot.
And that's an essential component of orientation. Before the organization fair even happens, during one of your orientation sessions, we talk about getting involved and the organization fair in itself and what different opportunities are. So we don't just throw you into the organization fair blind. We prepare you during those sessions.
And I think that's a great way to get Elon, incoming students, the first years, introduced not only to different clubs that can be on campus, organizations, but also to students that have been here for a few years that are involved in those. Yeah, because everybody that's going to be at the organization fair is going to be a student that's been here for at least a year or two.
Yeah, well, no, that's also sort of the point of having an orientation leader in general, because then it's a familiar face on campus who is a year or 2 or 3 older than you, and you meet them and you meet friends. You meet their friends and you meet friends of friends, and so all of a sudden, before you know it, you have tons of friends. And it all happens. It's a very much a domino effect.
Definitely. And when you go to the organization fair and you're signing up to receive emails, you're getting a taste of things. You're not like, if you sign up for 5 different organizations or clubs, you're getting information. You're not like totally committing yourself to every single one of those things, but you're getting a taste, I think, of each one of those organizations.
Absolutely.
So what other things are going on during this orientation time period?
Well, what's not going on during the new student orientation session? One of the most exciting traditions that we do have here at Elon happens on Saturday morning, so the second morning of orientation, and that is new student convocation, which every new student gets to go through, and it takes place under what we call Under the Oaks, which is also where graduation occurs 4 years later, so it's kind of a symbolic effect. And at New Student Convocation, it's a sort of semi-formal event for both new students as well as parents and family who are still here on campus. And at this event, it's a kind of a ceremonial special tradition that Elon has. Elon likes its traditions, and it's a time when the student body president gets to speak to the new incoming class. It's a time when various administration give a little speech, and we all look forward to President Leo Lambert's speech that he likes to give and really empower and get everyone excited for Elon in the new academic year, because believe it or not, this is the first time the entire new incoming freshman class is all together for once, and the next time that everyone will be guaranteed to be together will be graduation. So it's something that we all really look forward to, and we have orientation leaders as well as other leaders on campus help facilitate that event and help you kind of direct you where you need to go. So everyone really looks forward to this.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your family can come with you to convocation. We have a student who's wondering what other kind of orientation events that family can attend.
Yeah, great question. So we do have a parent and family orientation program that parallels for the new students. So family members will be invited to the Being an Elon parent session that happens at 4 o'clock on move-in day. So when all the students go to their first orientation session, our family members are invited to alumni gym, and they hear from some administrators and have the opportunity for Q&A as well. The following morning, parents and family members are invited to the new student convocation that Mackenzie was describing. We also have a program for any younger siblings of our new students. We have a sibling orientation where they get a tour of campus and they get to do some other fun things while mom and dad and older brother or sister might be busy. Parents also have the opportunity on Saturday morning to meet with their students' academic advisor. So that happens following the convocation and a parent gathering. Then there's the advisor meeting. The final thing for parents and families is our farewell picnic, and that takes place on the West Mosley lawn from about 12:30 to 2 on Saturday. We call it farewell for a reason. Parents are welcome to stick around as long as they would like, but that does end the formal programming for our parents and family members.
So you guys are all involved in in the orientation process. I'm wondering if the reason you guys chose to get involved is because your own orientation had an impact on you?
I love that question. I have really been a part of this organization since the first chance I was able to apply to be an orientation leader. I'm actually from California, West Coast pride, and I knew absolutely no one coming to Elon, as I'm sure many of you might not know anyone or even know a ton of people, but either way, Elon really prides itself on being intentional, and the organizations that it has, they're there for a reason, and they are there to represent Elon to the best of its ability. And I felt coming into Elon knowing no one, I was going to be a fish out of water, thrown into college, not knowing a clue what to do. And from the moment I stepped out of the car with my parents to unload my boxes, I had orientation leaders there to help carry the boxes, make sure my needs were met, and continued that even through my orientation sessions and even after that, and they made me feel at home. And I often tell people, as cheesy as it sounds, Elon is not just a community, it's a real family. And I think one of the ways that first taste really gets noticed is at our first night Elon, which happens as our first kind of fun orientation event after your first orientation session, and that's a way to kick off neighborhood pride and unity and get to know your RAs, the people on your hall, your suite mates, and orientation leaders help RAs and facilitate discussion and which neighborhood is really known for and what it wants to accomplish throughout the year. And so I feel like there's just so much positive energy that comes from orientation that you can't help but want to continue that by being an OL and then head staff.
Awesome.
And I'll just plug real quick. So we've been talking about neighborhoods a lot, and I know you all don't know quite yet which neighborhood you'll be in for the fall, but once you find that out, there will be a session, an on-air session later that will talk a lot about each neighborhood, and they're going to have some Res Life staff available to kind of show each one live and really talk about that. So.
Awesome. We're excited for that one. Really cool. So I know that the purpose of the orientation is also like a transition. It's helping students transition from high school to college, as well as give them resources, so they can grow throughout the experience. What do you think? I know that you're going to be going through a lot of these when you actually go through orientation, but are there any tips you can give now for them while they're home? Yeah. About towards the transition process.
Yeah. So obviously everyone coming to Elon is coming from various backgrounds. Some people might not be worried about the transition at all, and some people might be freaking out. That is, both things are okay, and everything in between. And I think one of the most important things you need to remember coming in is to keep an open mind, because college is an experience that is very, very unique. And if you go into it thinking that I need to do this, this, and this, or there's no way I'm going to be able to do this, it's very limiting. And the great thing about Elon is it's really not limiting. The opportunities at Elon are just endless. Like we were talking about the organizations, 200 plus organizations. You can make your own organization very, very easily. You can walk right in and say, I want to do this, and you will be given the resources. So keep an open mind and realize that the opportunities you're given for your years at Elon are very, very special, and they're a privilege, and it's really, really awesome that you get that. So make sure that you take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think as far as things to be doing now, definitely read the Common Reading book. Definitely get that done. You will be talking about it in the fall for sure. Other things I think are important are to have some conversations with your family members about, college is a new step, and the communication might be a little different. And do you plan on talking every day, or do you want to talk once a week? Are you going to text constantly? Or, that's different for every family, but I think regardless, that's an important conversation to have. And start thinking about some study habits. Start thinking about, right? Okay, I saw some smiles. Maybe that's true. Just start thinking about, what worked well for you in high school, or what worked well for you at another institution if you're transferring to Elon, and how you might apply that when you're here.
And I guess one other thing I would say, just to piggyback off of what Evan said a little bit, is don't assume you're the only person feeling one way or another. I guess that was a huge mistake I made, thinking I was the only one who was feeling homesick and out of place and that kind of thing. But through orientation, it kind of just helped me realize that I wasn't the only one having this feeling, and that there were people who felt the same way as me and who could relate, and so that made me feel a lot more comfortable and just like kind of satisfied with the transition process, and made it a lot easier knowing that I had people who were feeling like me and that I wasn't the only one who was like not gung-ho about college right away.
That becomes very clear very quickly when you come to college. You realize that all these people are coming, everyone is coming to Elon to be a student for the first time, and that puts you on a very even playing field, and you get to first night Elon, and everyone, you're going to be nervous. You're meeting 1,500 new people, 1,500 of your fellow new students for the first time, and that can be overwhelming. So everyone has some sort of there are different levels, but there's going to be nerves, and that's okay. Like Brogan said, you might be coming into it feeling like you're the only one, but you're not the only one. You're not.
And to clarify, the students that are going through the orientation process, it's not just first years to college, it's also transfer students, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We do have a transfer student orientation, so transfer students will come the same day, Friday, August 22nd, check in, and then they'll have a separate schedule. They're invited to attend all of the same programs, convocation for sure, and any of the social programs in the evenings, and they'll follow a slightly separate schedule and meet with other transfer students instead of other new students.
We have a couple questions on move-in day that I want to make sure we get to real quick.
Okay.
Students want to know if upperclassmen also move in on move-in day, and how you move in at the same time with your roommate. Is it staggered on purpose, or is it not structured?
Sure. So returning students, so sophomores and juniors and seniors, are asked to wait until Saturday afternoon. So the new students get a full 36 hours before the returning students come back, and that's just for the on-campus folks. As far as timing, the buildings will move in at different times, like Evan mentioned, but so roommates would presumably be arriving around the same time, and you'll actually get that information next week when housing assignments come out. So,
And speaking from experience, I mean, in terms of roommates getting there at the same time, I think that typically it's a pretty easy process, and
Sure.
there's not issues on, moving in like large furniture typically, because that's usually provided, or that is provided in all first-year
Yes.
students' rooms.
Yep, they're all furnished.
And once you get your housing assignment and you know who your roommate is, you can easily just text them, call them, Facebook message them, however you want. And I know it was easy for my roommate and I just kind of decide, hey, we're both here on campus on this day, and we'll both, since our building was opened at a certain time, let's plan to move in around 10 a.m. or whenever, so that we could be together. So you can do a lot of coordinating with your roommate once you get your housing schedule and you know what time your particular neighborhood or building is moving in.
On that note, you can also coordinate with your roommate on if you want to see who's bringing what. Like my roommate
Yeah,
and I,
definitely.
she brought all the trash cans that we needed, and I brought all the coffee stuff. That was our trade-off.
What else do you need?
Trash cans and coffee. That's really all.
And ramen.
Welcome to college.
So speaking to roommates, I know that this is a time typically when a lot of students are living with someone else for the first time. Can you speak a little bit to that, just about that kind of experience?
I think in the residential neighborhood on air, they might talk a little bit more about this. So I don't want to steal their thunder, but that is important to think about, living with someone else. I know that one of the first things they'll do is have you work on a roommate agreement. And so that's really thinking about your preferences. Do you stay up late? Do you like to play music loud? Are you tidy? Are you not so tidy? Things like that. And residence life encourages for new students to really take that seriously, because it's important to talk about those things. So that's a really helpful tool for living with someone else for the first time. And every hall will have a peer leader, a resident assistant, or RA, as we call them, and that's usually a sophomore or could be a junior or senior that lives on the hall and is the person to go to if there might be issues or something that you're not quite sure how to talk with your roommate about. They're a really great resource for that.
Definitely. I know something else we had also been talking about earlier was about stuff that you can get before you come to Elon, such as like we were talking about textbooks. A lot of students are asking, where do I buy my textbook? So I know that there's, we've got resources at Elon. We've got the Elon bookstore that has, they have a rental option. And something you were speaking to earlier was that getting your books from the Elon bookstore ensures that you're getting the correct edition as well. So you need to make sure that, according to your schedule, that you're getting the right one, because sometimes there's, a first edition and your professor might want you to get the 5th edition or something. But,
or your professor might change what they want last minute, like literally a week before school starts. You might have already ordered your books, and then all of a sudden your professor changes the curriculum and wants a different book. And going through the bookstore, they will ensure you that they get the most updated book that your professors have requested.
I wouldn't stress about that quite yet. I mean, I think your professors usually understand if you don't have your books on the first day of class, and we'll give you a week to at least order the book and whatnot. And they understand that there's always, backup issues because the bookstore gets really crowded and whatnot. So I wouldn't worry about books quite yet, but that'll come.
Yeah. And your orientation leaders are there for you when you get there. If you're worried about books or anything of that nature when you get to campus, that's why you have a resource right when you get there. So we're here to answer your questions.
And to Evan's point too, there will be a lot of questions and there will be things that you might not necessarily think of on the first day, and so that's why we actually have 4 different orientation sessions. So you meet with your orientation leader 4 different times, and those are each different topics, and there's also the opportunity to ask questions. But in one session, you might be talking about the academic community and what is it like to complete an experiential learning requirement, or what is it like to be in your first class and things like that. And then in another session, you might talk about the Elon culture and the Elon values, and what does it mean when we say the Elon community, and what are some of the expectations that we have about that. And then in another session, you might be talking about, planning for success, and what are some of the resources available on campus? What's the writing center? What's the tutoring center? And so you have multiple opportunities to ask questions to your orientation leader and get to know the other people in your group who might also have some of the answers that you need. So.
Definitely. I know that we have a few more minutes, so do we have any other questions for coming in?
I was about to say we have another question that just came in.
Awesome.
Okay, do you have to go to orientation?
Do you have to go to orientation? Well, yes. We do have some things in the orientation schedule that are shaded as mandatory. It's not all mandatory, but the ones that are shaded, we highly encourage you to go to because they all have a purpose, and they all, like we've been saying, are really helpful in giving some of those resources and tools that you need. So.
As a student that went through orientation, I think I went to everything that was listed, and I'm really glad that I did because, I mean, everything that they're providing for you is important. They thought it was important enough to provide it. So, I mean, your schedule isn't really demanding at that time. You're not going to classes or anything. So, your schedule is providing you a chance to interact with other students that, are just as excited as you are. And the information that you're going to be getting is great and important. So.
And there's a lot going on, and you will get really tired, but
yeah.
You're going to want to take a nap or something, but don't skip anything because it's great to have those shared experiences with the people you're going to live with.
Definitely. It's like a bonding experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, when everyone else is in orientation and you're not, then you're kind of called out. Because if someone sees you walking around, it's like, where should you be?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Do you have other questions?
anything else?
All the questions I've got right now.
No questions?
Well, I'll just plug if you do have questions that you can't think of right now. Our office is staffed 8 to 5 every day. Yes, it is. And so feel free to contact our office. Its orientation website is elon.edu/orientation, and that has our email address and our phone number. And we're here all summer to help you figure out what you need to know.
Awesome.
See you on the 22nd, yeah?
Yeah.
He'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for tuning in as well. These Elon live on air sessions are going to be going for the next couple weeks. Our next session is going to be on Tuesday, and it's going to be covering different majors, the 4 different sections that majors fall under. And that's going to be a 2-hour. That's going to be 2 hours, correct?
4 sessions that should be about half an hour each, and it'll start at 6.
Yes. So each session for each major is going to get its own section.
Each school, yeah.
Each school. Thank you.
Sorry.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope to see you next time. And this session is going to be posted on YouTube, and it'll be live, the link on the schedule, as well as answers to any more questions that we didn't get to. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.